got a panel of MPs gathered to talk about, well, end-of-life care, believe it or not. But actually, we've got something else to talk about first, to a gentleman called Frances Egan, Chief Executive of Quadrilla, which gives you a clue. He's just come into the studio because, of course, it's been, well, it says here a bad day, but he can tell us. That's because council officers in Lancashire have recommended the county council refuse permission for fracking at 2 sites where they wanted to do it. This is because of noise impact, which would affect apparently properties in Little Plumpton and Roseacre Wood, and lots of traffic as well, which I guess is inevitable consequence of these kind of developments. Frances Egan, are you a disappointed man?
Well, let me start with the positive from my perspective. The council officers concluded that the principle of exploration and appraisal for shale gas would be acceptable, and they further concluded that in those locations the impacts, and I quote from the report, air quality, archaeology, cultural heritage, greenhouse gas emissions, community ecology, hydrogeology, etc., 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 would be low. So I am disappointed clearly that they've recommended that the planning committee votes against it, but it is on very limited grounds. It is at one site an issue of noise, and at that noise at night time, and at the other site it's also noise and traffic. Fairly what I might call typical planning issues that I would expect could and will be resolved.
They didn't mention earthquakes. They started last time. You had to stop because of earthquakes.
Well, I just went through that whole long list. In fact, I didn't go through it all, and earth tremors were in there. They find that those risks would be low or could be mitigated and controlled by condition to make them acceptable.
You've got a way to go to convince everybody, haven't you? I mean,
well, I don't know that I'll ever.
Every time you land in a village, they're going to say no, not in our village.
I guess I don't know whether I'll ever convince everybody, but at some point we will be importing all our gas, and on a day like today I suspect the studio is heated by gas. Probably most of your listeners have got their central heating turned on, and with what's happening in the North Sea with oil prices, we're importing half our gas at the moment. In 2020 we'll be importing 80-90% of our gas.
There's masses of it.
Not a good thing.
We don't have to worry though, do we? Because
well,
America's
until
going to produce lots of it.
Oh, are they? And they're going to sell it to us. And
they seem to be selling it to somebody. That's why the world prices collapse.
They are, and we're importing the grand total of no gas from America. Most of our gas comes from North Africa, which is a good deal nearer than America. It comes from Norway, which is in itself running out of gas, and increasingly it'll be coming from Russia. Yeah.
So, do you have any fears that in this country we do tend to be very democratic, and that kind of is shorthand for saying nothing much happens, and that you're going to fight around these planning issues for ages and never get on with the industry?
Well, I think clearly you have to respect the rules, and we do. We in fact disagree with the recommendation of the planning officer on the noise issue, and we believe there are strong technical grounds that we have for that disagreement. We hope that the committee will vote for these. If they don't, clearly we have grounds for appeal that we believe under the planning system.
Point I was making is it's harder in the UK than anywhere else to get planning done. I mean, because of these gentlemen sitting around the table and it's the way democracy
works. Well, it has been a long process.
We're not planning officers or councillors.
We're
not just obstacles.
We have been engaged in
part of the democratic process. Yeah.
Well, the process has gone on for more than 12 months, so it has been a lengthy process as yet to conclude.
Well, this is quicker than short, I suppose. So you can't know. Just to actually, before can we just ask for one quick comment from him, and then we'll let you go, because I know you've got other things.
Sure.
I've got 3 MPs with me in the studio. You heard from them, and they unfairly suggested they were some way responsible for planning delays. So it's Andrew George, Lib Dem, Fabian Hamilton, Labour, Peter Bottomley, Sir Peter Bottomley, Conservative. I think, Fabian, you're hot on this issue, aren't you?
I'm quite opposed to fracking, I have to say, and shale gas, because of the way it will destroy, I believe, some of our precious countryside. I know the chief executive there is
got to be a balance, though, hasn't there?
I
mean, your countryside is precious, but so is the nation's economic well-being.
Yeah, but I mean, there must be other ways that we can actually produce energy other than destroying the countryside and some of our villages and towns.
Right, Andrew George, what do you say?
Well, I'm not opposed to shale gas. All I think is that whether it be in my own area, sort of geothermal or tin mining or any other mineral extraction or activity under the ground, has to be properly and effectively regulated. So shale gas and fracking should receive the same level and the same high hurdles, particularly in a very, very small country like ours, where it's bound to happen close to where people are living, in some location, that it has to be very, very effectively regulated.
And Sir Peter Bottomley, I'm not sure how much there is in Worthing, but...
Well, and I was thinking about this studio, and if you could recycle all the hot air you must listen to, you'd be able to get most of our
produce at
heating.
times, yeah.
I think you have to remember that only a generation or two ago, we had 500,000 people working in deep mine coal, and that wrecked communities. It went under people's homes without anyone getting a question of asking about it. I think the idea that fracking is going to be the worst way of getting hydrocarbons out.
Energy there's going to be an impact whatever you do, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and the problems about fracking are really, well, partly I suspect the Russians would hate us to do it because they wouldn't be able to sell us their gas. And I much prefer to rely on hydrocarbons, unconventional hydrocarbons coming out of my land and being taken from Russia at the moment. I hope Russia changes. I also think that we must keep a sense of proportion. We object to quarrying, we object to roads, we object to railway lines. We want better railways, we want better roads, we want heating.
That's one of the yes, it's a conundrum you MPs all have to support, have to resolve.
But just because it was done historically doesn't make it right.
Yeah, we're going to let you, Francis, go, but you can come back with a last. It is going to happen, is it? I mean, how severe a setback is this? Do you...
No, it is going to happen. I mean, as I say, noise and traffic are the two remaining issues. Clearly, we would prefer that there were no remaining issues, but there isn't a development in the country that hasn't had to address noise and traffic.
Okay, thank you for that, and thanks for your time. We'll let you go because I know there are lots of people who want to hear from you today. Goodbye. And we've welcomed the three MPs in because, as you can hear, they're prepared to have an urbane discussion rather than that which you'll be treated to at 12 o'clock when Francis' questions begin.
No, Peter, it's going to be very easy. The Labour leader will congratulate the Prime Minister on the reduction in unemployment and say he'd hope to take it even further low. We'd all agree.
I thought that you would lift the tone, Peter, after